4 interesting facts in United States. In the White House, there are 13,092 knives, forks, and spoons. Americans on average eat 18 acres of pizza every day. The average American drinks about 600 sodas per year. In United States, there are more collect calls on Father's Day than any other day of the year. Did you know that? The moon is moving away from the Earth at a tiny, although measurable, rate every year. 85 million years ago it was orbiting the Earth about 35 feet from the planet's surface. Did you know that? Adolf Hitler was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Don't worry. The Swedish politician who sent the letter of nomination in 1939 meant it ironically, and withdrew his nomination. In an even more ironic twist, Hitler had banned Germans from accepting the awards 4 years before his own name was thrown in the ring. Did you know that? As of January 1, 2004, the population of the United States increases by 1 person every 12 seconds. There is a birth every 8 seconds, an immigrant is added every 25 seconds, and a death every 13 seconds. How much does a professional basketball player make? As of June 11, 2023, the average annual pay for a professional basketball player in the United States is $47,840 a year. Just in case you need a simple salary calculator, that works out to be approximately $23 an hour. This is the equivalent of $920 a week or $3,986 a month. Did you know that? Sitting while talking on the phone for 8 hours will burn 914 calories. Driving a car for 8 hours will knock off around 1,219 calories. And standing in a casino for 8 hours will burn about 1,402 calories. Did you know? A person who can go without sleep for 11 days. Randy Gardner of San Diego is the longest person who has gone without sleep for 11 days in 1965. He broke the record of Peter Tripp of New York, who settled a record of 8.5 days without a wink. Did you know that? People used to say prunes instead of cheese when having their pictures taken in the 1840s. A big, dare we say, cheesy grin was seen as childish. So one London photographer told people to say prunes to keep their mouths taut. And that look predated today's fish face selfie by, about 180 years. Incidentally, the first selfie was really invented in 1839 by this guy.
Did you know that roller coasters were invented to distract Americans from sin? In the 1880s, hosiery businessman LaMarcus Thompson hated that Americans were tempted by hedonistic places like saloons and brothels. So he set out to straighten up one of the most immoral places he could think of, Coney Island in New York. There, he built America's first roller coaster to give New Yorkers some good, clean fun, away from seedier pastimes.
Did you know that? The shortest war in history lasted 38 minutes when the Sultan of British-protected Zanzibar died and a new one took over without British approval in 1896. The Brits were not happy. Tension escalated when Sultan Khalid bin Barhash refused to step down, but the British warships spent less than 40 minutes bombarding the palace before Khalid fled, marking the end of the Anglo-Zanzibar War.
Did you or know that? Supermarket apples can be a year old. These weird facts might have you changing the way you eat. Those fresh apples aren't all that fresh per se. They're usually picked between August and November, covered in wax, hot air dried, and sent into cold storage. After 6 to 12 months, they finally land on your grocery store shelves.
Did you know that? The shortest commercial flight in the world is in Scotland. Yes, it's true. Scottish regional airline Loganair operates the shortest commercial flight in the world between the islands Westray and Papa Westray, a distance of 1.7 miles which is scheduled for 90 seconds. Did you know that? The Eiffel Tower was originally intended for Barcelona. The Spanish city thought the design was too ugly, so Gustave Eiffel pitched it to Paris instead, as a temporary landmark during its 1889 International Exposition. French critics didn't like it much either though. Did you know that? There's a flower that smells like chocolate. Native to Mexico, this dark red flower is not edible. It is called Cosmos atrosanguineus, or chocolate cosmos. Did you know that? People read faster or slower depending on what they read from. Not only do you blink less when you're on a computer, but reading from a screen also slows you down. On average, people read 10% slower from a screen than from paper. As for the blinking part, did you know that during everyday life, people normally blink at a rate of 20 times per minute? But put them in front of a computer, and that number drops way down to 7 times per minute. Did you know that? 5 countries in the world that don't have airports. If you're a jet-setting traveler, it's hard to imagine not having an airport nearby for your next family gathering or work event. However, Vatican City, San Marino, Monaco, Liechtenstein, and Andorra somehow make it work. Did you know that? Snoop Dogg's real name is Cortazar Calvin Broadus Jr. His nickname came from his mother who thought he looked like Snoopy from the Peanuts. Did you know? There are more people in California than Canada. Despite the fact that Canada is more than 2,000% larger in size than California. There is only one country on Earth without mosquitoes. Iceland. Its low temperatures make it impossible for the pest to breed. Did you know that? Dogs' sense of smell is 40 times more powerful than humans. They have 300 million olfactory receptors. Dogs also have something called neophilia, which means they are attracted to new and interesting odors. Did you know that? The last letter added to the alphabet was actually J. You might think that the letter Z is the last letter added because it's the last letter of the alphabet, but that's incorrect. It's actually J. The alphabet that we know and love today wasn't created alphabetically, too. Did you know that? Cars can easily reach 140 degrees Fahrenheit. You might be driving along the highway and not notice how hot your car is getting. But when you pull over for a while, your car can reach intense degrees. That's one of the reasons why it's recommended you should never leave food in your car for long periods of time. Did you know that? Australia is the only continent without an active volcano. The nearest active volcanoes are located off the continent of Australia but are still within its territory. One is located on Head Island and the other on McDonald Islands. The reason why Australia does not have any active volcanoes located on the continent is that it isn't on a plate boundary. Did you know that? A cat spends most of its life sleeping. A cat will spend an average of 15 hours a day sleeping. Some cats can sleep longer to a total of 20 hours a day. These felines do most of their sleeping during the day as they are generally active during the night. Did you know that? Rabbits eat their feces. After eating them, they will digest it again like normal food. Rabbits have 2 kinds of droppings, little black round ones and softer black ones known as cecotropes. The cecotrope droppings are the ones that they eat, and they do this so they can reabsorb any undigested nutrients from their food. This process is normally done once a day. Did you know 4 interesting facts about Canada? Canada eats more macaroni and cheese than any other nation in the world. Superman may be known as a great American hero, but his origin story comes in part from a Canadian. Canadian comic book artist Joe Shuster created the famous DC Comics character with writer Jerry Siegel in the 1930s while the pair were still in high school. Around 23% of Canada's population is foreign-born. Canada is the most educated country in the world. Did you know these 4 interesting facts? On the topic of cows, they can only walk upstairs, but not down them. Bananas are curved because of how they grow, toward the sun. Saint Lucia is the only country in the world named after a woman. More people are killed by vending machines than sharks. Also, more than 90% of shark attacks are on males. Did you know that? You share your birthday with 19 million people. On average, a person will share a birthday with 19 million other people from a population of over 7 billion. If you were born on the least common day of the year, you would still share the same birthday as 18 million people. Did you know that? Your liver size fluctuates significantly throughout the day? While studying mice, a team of Swiss researchers found that the mice's liver cells swelled and contracted up to 40% while doing their daily activities. Though research being conducted whether that happens to that extent in humans. One study from 1986 found a person's liver swells about 20% between day and night, presumably related to the fact that the liver is not working as hard when a person is sleeping. Did you know these 2 interesting facts? White is considered the safest color for a car. This is because white cars typically stand out against the black roads. Statistics state that white cars are 12% less likely to get into an accident compared to black cars. 70% of the world's toys are made in China. Other countries like Japan only produce 19% of goods that are shipped internationally. Most manufactured toys are made from materials such as traditional plastics to wooden toys. Did you know that? Brazil is named after a tree. The country of Brazil was named after the Portuguese settlement on its land in the 1500s. Brazilwood trees were often harvested for a red-colored dye that was later on shipped to Europe, which is where the country got its name from. The tree was named after the country. Did you know that? Only female mosquitoes bite you. Need some insect did you know facts? No problem. Only female mosquitoes bite us because the required nutrition from their victim's blood is needed to develop their eggs. Male mosquitoes feed on the nectar of flowers.